You're welcome to the breakfast show that keeps you glued to your TV and gives you a dose of information, entertainment, education, all in full HD. Guys, you're welcome to Tea or Coffee on High Impact Television. And today's Wednesday, it is Wellness Wednesday. Of course, I'm not alone. I have with me in the studio two distinct flavors of chocolates.
That word, though.
I have...
Good morning.
And my name is Modupe Jacobs. Welcome to Tea or Coffee.
Modupe Jacobs?
How
I should do an impression of you guys.
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm fine.
Hope you slept well.
Yes,
I
did.
I've gotten used to that fact now.
No, that was your night, right? I know.
How about you, Modupe?
Yes, I slept well. And you?
Fine, good, yeah.
So, ladies, I'm super excited. Ask me why.
Why?
Why?
Because Kelvin Hart is hosting the 2019
I
Oscars.
didn't even know you were going to talk about it. You know, I saw it yesterday. I was so excited all by myself because I'm actually a fan. So
Really?
I was super excited when I got that news yesterday. That's a big one.
Did you scream this loud in your room?
I just said that I
you were all by yourself,
yes,
and then you screamed. Did you run out?
In her mind. She screamed in her mind.
I was actually excited to know the news.
Yes.
And then knowing the person that Kevin Hart is very fun. We all know that. He's a stand-up comedian. He's spontaneous. He's hilarious. And then I have the feeling he's going to be shading.
My dear.
You know, not just subtly now.
He's
going to be
He might
throwing
not
them.
shade, but I'm sure it's going to be a great show.
He will shade.
It's going to be a great show.
Want to bet? He will. Definitely.
He'll go for one person.
But you'll be discreet about it now. He doesn't want to enter trouble.
Oh well, but I just hope he would handle it well and then make us proud.
Yes,
I have that much faith in him.
He wrote something online and I have it here. He said, "For years I have been asked if I would ever host the Oscars, and my answer was always the same. I said that it would be the opportunity of a lifetime for me as a comedian, and that it will happen when it's supposed to. I'm so happy to say that the day has finally come for me to host the Oscars. I am blown away simply because this has been a goal on my list for a long time, to be able to join the legendary list of hosts that have graced the stage."
Who says that you cannot meet your goal and your what you've targeted for yourself for the year? It's towards the end of the year, and I'm sure he probably had it in mind that, not this year, maybe next year. And
I'm super excited for him. It's like I'm the one that's going to host it.
Oh, well, it's good, you know, and then you know what they say about celebrating all those wins, you know, yours is going to come to you too.
Exactly,
Yes.
exactly. It's
That
just
is, so we are happy
for
for
your
you,
time.
Kevin.
Very happy for him.
Yes, and congratulations. We hope you do handle it well and then make us proud.
Yes. And we have another story.
Okay, who's going to do the
My
honors?
dear.
Since you like to tell stories, I'm just going to be here like...
No, you can't just be there. You have to engage
I'm sure she knows
yourself
the story.
Okay, so that was it's just a little story. So 2 days back or 3 days back, we heard of the arrest of Smart Doctor. He is an artist.
We talked about it on the show yesterday for the fact that, you know, you an ambassador. And then you know, after the show, I went back to read up more on the story and really I saw some comments where they said that how would you arrest your own ambassador, asking why he would have a gun with him. But then you realize that what if it was actually given to them as an ambassador of, like you being part of the force?
According to sources, according to reports, and according to short clips that we saw online, first, it was illegal possession of firearm, first. And secondly, if it was indeed given to him by the police force, since he's an ambassador, he's supposed to have a license for it, which is supposed to be with him. And then the other, sorry to cut short, and then the other thing is that the situation or the manner in which he was arrested was that it was quite unruly.
Exactly, because that was what I was going to mention.
You know?
That was what I was going to say, that he did not like have to, even if it was given to him, he wasn't supposed to use it the way.
Yeah, you know what they say, absolute power corrupts. Absolutely.
Why would you even point a gun to a police person in the first place? You shouldn't do that. I mean, these are people that are quite respected.
But then the good news is he has been released.
Yeah.
I'm so glad for him because his concert is coming up.
Yes, no, talking about that yesterday, how he was going to pull that off, but luckily for him?
He's been released.
He has been released.
Congratulations.
Please,
and we
congratulations,
hope
but
more mess.
Exactly.
It should just stay on a low.
Because this should be like the second case now that he has with the police.
Yes.
So you should just try and be careful. Then, this is sad. I didn't want to talk about it,
Before
but then
we go to a sad story. Before we go to a sad story, there is one that has been on my mind.
Okay, get it out.
Yes, and that's Priyanka Chopra and Nick
We were talking about extravagant wedding that cancelled in China. But then, look at this one. It was elaborate and beautiful.
It was...
I felt like I was watching another Bollywood movie.
I saw her wedding gown.
Right?
Did you see her wedding gown?
I
the white
did.
wedding dress is beautiful.
Amazing.
The veil, it was massive. You know, she had people, and then it was
Holding
so
it for her.
beautiful. It was simple, yeah. It was so elegant, classy. It was gorgeous,
amazing, and she looked
And
so
then-
beautiful.
Yeah.
And Nick Jonas looked so
Also the
happy. Like
traditional
finally,
wear.
I get to marry the woman of my dreams.
Did you see the part where he wiped the tear?
Yeah,
I saw it.
I
You
know,
it was,
right?
and then one other thing that people are making mention of the fact is that there was this fusion of two different religions. You know, the
coming
Hinduism
together,
and then the
exactly.
Christians. So it was like, we're going to obviously be a very happy family. We're going to live amicably. You practice yours, I practice mine. But then love conquers all. You know?
Yeah,
I
true.
just love.
I love love.
stories.
I know.
Hello.
Sorry.
You're on tea or coffee now.
Okay. All right. Now you were supposed to share a story.
Now that you mentioned the wedding, it's actually difficult for me to say the sad story. But
you know-
then
Okay, still on the wedding. I think it's still on the wedding. Okay,
I know.
so what do you want to say?
Okay, but I wanted to mention the fact that the age difference between them.
1, 2, 3, 4,
exactly
5, 6, 7,
tell
8, 9.
them.
Well, at the end, like you said, love conquers. Love conquers.
But then,
But age shouldn't be a factor.
exactly. I
shouldn't be
keep
a
saying
factor.
that to people that age
When it
is
comes to
just
love.
a number. Like you might probably that might be the right person for you that understands you so well, and then you go,
Sure.
okay, because we're not the same age.
As long as the
okay,
person
you
has a
can
life
go.
together, you guys have, you complement each other, you know, you
And this
understand
age
each other and
difference
all
is
that. so-
always on the
Yes, it's
woman's
always-
side when the
Not
woman
always.
is older.
Older, yeah.
You can
Nice.
actually marry a man that is probably 10 years older than you
are,
and
there won't
no
be a
one has a
problem.
problem
Yes.
with it. But when a woman that is 10 years
about
older
double
than you,
standards.
hello.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was going through the internet and I saw the story of a little girl that was thrown into the pit latrine by her mother because she's living with cerebral palsy.
Oh my.
That was sad. Like, I'm still
Wow.
I'm still trying to realize that
Wow.
someone could do that, you know.
To a child.
Exactly.
That didn't ask to be born with such disorder.
I know, right? And of all places to put the child.
child.
Thank God for someone who was able to rescue the child
Okay.
and polished up the child. If not, I wonder what would have happened.
Also, the child is okay and
I know
fine
the
now.
child is okay and fine, like doing well now.
No.
But why would you even do that in the
The
first place?
trauma.
That is what we are talking about. People, you know, living with disabilities and
Yes, we have
Yeah,
it an
yeah.
all-inclusive society.
exactly. Everyone respecting people like that and also making them know that they can also be someone in the society. They can actually do things that we are doing, but all they just need is probably an aid or someone who would help them, even
And most
if there are
importantly,
limitations.
understanding and love. I remember there was a time, okay, I volunteered for some courses I
Okay.
can identify with, and then there was a time I went for a walk, awareness for autism, and then you should have heard some people's
Experience.
not even experience, their opinion of disabilities and
you
autism. I was
serious?
just, okay, well, you know, it's a walk, and then you have the banners and then the snippet of what the thing is about. And then
okay.
we're asking and talking to the public, and we're like, do you know what autism is? And they were like,
They had no idea.
God forbid.
I even thought they
in
had no
Jesus' name, we
idea.
shall not have
Really?
it. I'm like, calm down. You know, according to data from the UN, that's tweeted by the Secretary General of the United Nations, which is Antonio Guterres,
Okay.
he said over 1 billion people
People
in
live
the
with
world
disabilities.
have
Live with
have one form of
disabilities.
disabilities or the other. We are 7.2 billion. That is over 1 billion. So that means they are all around us.
Yes.
They didn't ask to be born with that.
I mean-
so you can't push them. You
Exactly.
can't extradite. You can, you know, excommunicate. You can't
And you can't discriminate.
I need to calm down.
You need to calm down. I understand where the place you're coming from. It's actually saddening that, you know, these things still happen in a society that, you know, has so many people, and then I don't want to think about it.
Oh, well, why don't we just have an inclusive society where everyone can come together, respect each other despite your status or your condition or whatever you are going through. To talk more about this, make sure you stay tuned to Tea or Coffee on High Impact Television, as we will be back with our guest. We'll be right back. To stay tuned.
This is 17 years of training. It's everything.
We've got grit. Every day we practice. Hoping that one day it would be our time.
Our time.
My time.
My entire life has led to this moment.
It's DJ Khaled.
All I do is win, no matter. I don't know what it is. I love it.
He goes in your brain and he knows what you think you can do.
You gave us home, and that means a lot.
I love this responsibility. This show is going to make you into a superstar. Driving at 90.
Your father is dead.
I want to learn Ushu.
You think you can master the art of ages? Wushu is a meditation. It's not made for hate or revenge.
Smuggling opium, kidnapping villagers for transport to forced labor. My daughter is priceless.
What do you know of my father?
He has brought nothing but pain and hardship to my people.
No! Isn't father wonderful?
Everyone's dreaming of being the biggest pop star on the planet. But today, for them, the center of the universe is right here.
Every newbie gets a senior detective to pass or fail them. Lucky you got me.
And why do you think you are here in anger management?
Because some people think I'm angry and they happen to be in management.
It was me.
Next time. Boy, that's the worst kind of killer.
She doesn't know a man like this. She's just a student.
I'll shoot.
You don't have the guts. Thank you for the part where you probably saved my life.
Don't be dramatic.
Open the door!
Please, find her. Good girl.
Your favorite uniform times 2.
They're not my favourite uniform.
Watching Tea or Coffee on High Impact Television. And just before we went on that break, we told you we're talking about the trending gist on social media. And the last story was quite a sad one, which will lead us into what we are going to talk about today. That's having an all-inclusive having an all-inclusive society.
Yes.
And we have our guest in the studio with the person of Seun Dosunmu. He is a staunch disability advocate. And why are you shy? And then, yes, of course, he is the founder of Across All Initiative for Mental Health and Stigma Eradication. You are welcome to the show.
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You're welcome.
You're looking sparkling.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, yes, December 3rd was
World
International Day for people living with disabilities. Yes. And, you know, on social media, I've seen that you've gone for several, you know, interviews, you know, trying to talk about an all-inclusive society. So tell us about it.
Okay, 3rd of December, obviously, was the International Day of Persons with Disabilities. And for us, the theme actually is to promote empowering persons with disabilities, promoting inclusiveness, and also equality.
Yes.
So there was need for us to shed some light, a lot of light around promoting inclusiveness and equality. Unfortunately, here in Nigeria, we've been struggling with promoting an all-inclusive Nigeria. There's so much discrimination against persons with disabilities, marginalization when it comes to employment, when it comes to opportunities, capacity building opportunities. Persons with disabilities are often excluded, and we need to change the narrative. So it was necessary for us to have all discussions on that very day. But for us, it's a daily thing. So 3rd of December was just one of those days.
International day to celebrate it.
Exactly.
Okay, so what does it mean to actually live in an inclusive society?
Where no one is disenfranchised, you know, because I don't see a reason why an albino should not be in the workplace. I don't see a reason why a deaf person should not be in the workplace. I don't see a reason why a physically challenged person should not be in the workplace. So everyone should have equal rights. And like I mentioned in one of my interviews recently, was that the women empowerment and the girl empowerment movement should follow the same, PWD should follow the same approach. Why? Because for many job opportunities now, it's always stated clearly that women, girls are advised to apply for this role. So if we truly want to drive an all-inclusive society, it should be stated clearly, persons with disabilities are advised to apply for the role. So with all of this kind of special mentions, I think we can also use that to drive an all-inclusive society.
So let us talk about stigmatization. Okay, first, let me give a preceding story. So there was a time I heard a disabled person, and then he said he is quite qualified educationally for some certain roles, and then he went to a particular hotel here in Lagos. And then every time he goes either into the hotel or in a place where he wants to work or he would like to submit a CV or resume, that he gets turned down. Sometimes they don't even allow him access into the building. Some just assume he wants to come and beg. So now, how do we actually handle the stigmatization? How can we stop it? In fact, how does it even come about? Is it because they feel that someone who is physically disabled cannot work optimally, or what?
First, I would like to, I think some have abused their status being a person with disability. They beg for harms and appear incompetent. So they are at the mercy of what people give to them. To buttress your point, I have a visually impaired person who has 2 certificates from University of Lagos, and he came out with second class upper. Then for his masters, he had about 3.5 and above. So we have persons with disabilities who can actually play vital roles in the workplace. But what is happening is that we're not giving them that opportunity. And majorly, I've been, falling into this trap of saying Nigerians are not empathic. But every time I say that, I've been corrected that some Nigerians are not empathic.
Yes.
And that is why we hear all sorts. People make mockery of these persons. People do not even give them a listening ear because we just feel we can't deal. I've had a discussion with someone well-learned, and she says, you know what, I can't, these your persons with disabilities, I can't deal. I can't deal. Until then we came across some dear friends, and I was signing. Now she was amazed. Like, oh, truly, I think there's a need for us to push this cause. So for a lot of people, they are not aware, and they are not willing to even come close to persons with disabilities.
Okay, sorry. Still on that, you talked earlier about the fact that some people with disabilities have actually abused the opportunity to be given access. Now, on the street of Lagos, you will agree with me that it is a very common sight to see people that you see that are not so much with disabilities. I saw one person. He looked like someone who had a case of vitiligo, basically, because I scanned him, and then I saw that he didn't exactly have a pronounced disability. So how do you educate those ones that they can actually, go all out to do well for themselves, and yet are taking advantage, of the fact that some people might just pity them? How do you educate them?
This is very important. First, you have to see yourself as someone who can thrive, or rather can add value to the system. Once you have a challenge with that mindset, it becomes a problem. Now you beg for harms. You beg for harms, and on a daily basis, you're raking in a good sum of money.
It's a business for some.
So you just become laid back, and that is what is happening. Now we're beginning to see persons without disabilities who dress well. And then they're asking for arms. So it's a mindset. But this, we need to be deliberate. We need to start. There are people out there. Like I said, I work with visually impaired persons, hearing impaired, physically challenged, and then albinos. I've sampled a few of them, and I see potentials. I see people who are willing to work for a living if we allow them, and define their roles clearly.
Sure.
So, but how much are we doing to really tap into this?
So when she was talking about, people on the street of Lagos begging for alms, I remember the post I saw on social media where someone caught a video of particular men, which they put their wheelchairs aside after the day, meaning they were not physically challenged. It is now a business for them. So, and in as much as it is very key and is right for us to push an all-inclusive society, what has been put in place to educate people to stay off the streets and do something for themselves?
True.
Because the thing is, we are pushing an all-inclusive society, and then we are seeing people that, are physically challenged on the streets. It's not, the last time you came on the show, I was talking about how disheartening it is sometimes, when you see people you see children on the streets. And I remember I asked you the same question. What has been put in place to educate them and to take them off the streets? So you are an advocate for, people living with disabilities. So what has been put in place? I'm putting that question to you now.
Okay, let me just say this. First, persons with disabilities are the most vulnerable. They are the majority of a minority group, and they also, live in abject poverty. So what are the measures put in place? Like we've discussed, we've pointed out how they're socially excluded, how they're not beneficiaries of a lot of things. Now, these are some of the causes, the reasons why a few of them do what they do. Now, the measures put in place, there's a disability bill that is yet to be assented to by the presidency. If that is being assented to, a lot of things will change. A lot of things will change from the perspective of empowerment, which means the federal government now has a bill for persons with disabilities. For Lagos State, there's a Lagos State disability law that says for every organization there should be at least one person with disability in the workforce.
Okay, that's good.
What is happening at these organizations living by the law? Not a lot of them.
Okay.
Not a lot of them. Is the Lagos State government enforcing this? Maybe, maybe not. There are still some organizations that I know that don't have persons with disabilities. So the measures put in place are not being enforced. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
What else can be done? For us, for me, I'll say me, I'm gearing towards, building capacity, because that's also a major challenge. Skill deficits in skill knowledge. They do not have skills and knowledge. The few ones that do, self-employed, but how much are they even making? There's a need for us to advocate more for the workplace rather than being self-employment is relative. A lot of people are self-employed but are not even making half of what an employed person makes. So why don't we advocate for their inclusion in the workplace by training them on the right skills? For instance, we started something with the visually impaired on public speaking. And I realized that, out of the participants, it was just one of them that was born blind.
Wow.
So what that implies is that they all have a story to tell.
Yes.
But how are they going about telling their stories? That's also something we should look at. People earn a lot of money from public speaking.
True. Totally.
And how do they do these things? By telling the right story. Is either you want to motivate your audience, you tell your story. You use the storyline.
Yes.
So they all have stories to tell, but how are we building capacity to help them in telling the story? Also, for some certain industries, they can fit in perfectly. I look at the media. Why? We can have people behind the scenes who are visually impaired. We can have a host of shows who are maybe not, deaf, a bit deaf. We can have an interpreter. It's just for us to start changing the mindset.
Gradually.
And changing the narrative. So if we have all this in place, next 5-10 years, I see a lot of
changes.
Yes.
Okay.
Hopefully.
All right. To celebrate the International Disability Day, the theme is actually for them to be empowered and be educated. Now, one thing I know is that these people need to know their rights so that they can speak for themselves and also stand for themselves when necessary. So what are the rights put in place for people living with disability?
The rights shouldn't be different from our rights.
Yes.
Security, right to live, right to vote and be voted for.
Without limitation.
Without limitation. But unfortunately for them, they don't stand the same benefit. They don't enjoy the same privileges that we do. For instance, the electoral process. That's still a major challenge because, yes, INEC says they have so much intentions to make the 2019 election an all-inclusive election. But what we see, what we have observed is that there is little preparation for. I was discussing with someone and then he was asking, how would the visually impaired person vote for one of the 90 parties without having his or her vote influenced? Is there an assistive technology
Probably
that will say, this is APC, I can see a broom sign. This is, we don't have that. So there is a likelihood that a visually impaired person that will vote next year may have his or her vote influenced by the helper.
True. I guess we still have a whole
Do we
lot
have
to do.
interpreters that would see to a deaf person, being registered properly without any form of discrimination?
Yes.
I mentioned to one of the INEC officials at our dialogue for promoting an all-inclusive Nigeria, and then I told her that what happens to your staff now? There's a visually impaired person or a person with disability, and your staff is the one stigmatizing. What happens? Do you have any sort of punishment in place for
that person?
These are things because, like you said, people will say things because that's how they have lived their lives. Very self-centered, uncaring, and then they go out say things. So they will say things, they will react in ways that are not pleasant. So what is the penalty for that?
So that they can stop it and also serve as a warning to others.
So these are very serious questions that we're asking from INEC, and we're hoping that by God's grace we're going to monitor these elections and see
all the organizations
in communities to also see that these things are done properly. A person on wheelchair, how is he or she going to have easy access? Oh yes, there's a special attention for pregnant women, for persons with disabilities, but those are in paper.
That they actually
so now we need to implement it and actually
most likely you would have a huge crowd turnout and it won't be convenient. The weather will be hot for an albino. Can they stay under the sun for 20-30 minutes? That's another question. So these are questions that we're asking, and we're hoping that all of that has really been thought out.
Okay, so you're also an advocate for mental health.
Yes.
And we know that people living with disabilities, their mental health has to be in check, especially with what they go through. I mean, I know we are still struck stigmatization and the likes. So what programs have you put in place to help them in terms of their mental health, to make sure they are in check?
Okay. We have the health education and enlightenment program for the deaf.
Okay.
Now, what we do with that is promote good health and well-being amongst the deaf community. And in the course of our 5 to 6 programs, we've always infused mental health education. Yes, when you mention mental health, you see them signing, I'm okay, my head is, I'm not crazy, I'm not mad. But that shows there's a knowledge gap.
Yeah.
Even those that are not with disability, when you mention mental health, mental illness, they're saying, I'm not crazy, I'm not mad, I'm not mad.
That hits people.
I'm not crazy, I'm not mad. So we have taken that to them, enlightened them on, I heard you say autism, talked about autism, talked about depression too. Because these are issues that they also face. From stigmatization, from social exclusion, from participating in a lot of things, from some of them substance abuse, and a lot of them, unemployed, poverty. You can't help. The pressure is too much. So they are more prone to mental illness from what they go through. So one of the measures, that's one of that. Then we also have our Work and Emotional Balance Conference. And what we do majorly with that is to promote mental health education. So this Saturday we'll be having the 2nd edition, and our focus, because we're also trying to commemorate the International Day of Persons with Disabilities. So our core audience will be persons with disabilities. You know, we'll be talking about dementia, talking about substance abuse, talking about postpartum depression, because they also make babies.
It's interesting. It's informative as well.
Yes, it is.
Enlightening, and then it opens our eyes to the fact that we still have a lot to do. A long way to go. This inclusiveness, it's like we've just been saying it's on paper, but then we need to do more.
And it's not something that we have to just push and say the government should do. The government, as an individual,
everybody, all hands have to be on deck. You know, starting from you not stigmatizing, making them feel like, not even making them, it is their right, just like you rightly said. Everybody has this fundamental right where, you know, you're human, irrespective of the disabilities. And most importantly, inferring from what you said too, it is not just we giving special opportunities to them. They have to be qualified for it too, because we're all the same. We see them as the same. We're not giving preferential treatment. So more than they have not having the right mindset, we are pushed out. They have to have the right mindset, and also they have to be qualified. You know, for whatever we will be including them in.
Also, to add to what you said, you know, I was speaking with a friend that lives with disability, and she says, okay, so there was a task that was in place that we were supposed to handle together. That was back then in school, and then she says that, do you know that if you leave me, I will do better than you? And that alone challenged me that, okay, I want to prove to you that I can do also better than you. But then, do you know this girl went ahead to come out like, everyone was surprised at what she could do. She surpassed everyone in the class in that project. And we kept on talking about her for a week. And this was a project that we felt she would be limited. Exactly. Because of because of her hand. So we thought that, okay, she would be limited in that aspect. But then she, in fact,
she wowed you guys.
That is beautiful. And guess what? Guess what, guys? We have a success story in the house. So you know we have everything, the full package of everything for you. So we'll go on a quick break, and when we come back, we will still be talking more. And most importantly, with a success story in the building, you don't want to miss this part. Please don't go anywhere.
How can you have the nerve not to admit you tried to have me killed?
Aren't you being courageous?
Well, I don't know if it's what you'd call courage, but I'm not afraid of you or your thugs. So do whatever it is that you want, all right? If you want to see me dead, then do it yourself.
I did my part. You told me to sleep with a woman who was drugged, and that's what I did.
Of course I told you to do that, but not with that one.
So with whom then? Let me hide in here.
What is going on?
Where can I hide? They're gonna kill me.
No,
Where's the guy?
Antes de abrirme el corazón, cuando se agote la ilusión, alguien se encontrará en tu
I know you from a poster I saw somewhere.
Hey! They're back! They're back! Neil! Neil! Georgie!
Where's my boy and my husband?
That's the Savages.
Where are they?
like rules, does she? Crosses boundaries.
She's a good cop. Good cops take risks.
I need a favour.
Jesus, what have you got yourself into?
I've got an ID on a body.
He was shot in cold blood. You've got no witnesses and no leads.
He wants to kill you too, doesn't he? What are you gonna do? Find him before he finds me.
Bet you make enemies. I bet there is a whole world of people out there just dying to take you down.
She's smart.
Smart isn't always enough. Stop playing games. I'm not your enemy. If I was, you'd be dead by now.
Something's wrong and you know it.
What I'm seeing is someone whose investment in this case seems personal, to the point of self-destruction.
Don't start things you don't know how to finish.
Yes, this is still tea or coffee on High Impact Television. And yes, we have our success story. A person that has a success story in the studio. So you need to stay glued to tea or coffee and do not change the station. Okay, now our guest in the studio is Setonji Ogunbiyi, and he is a statistician / social researcher. I got that right.
Congratulations, you did.
You're welcome to the show. It's good to have you.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yes. So I know that, December 3rd, we're celebrating, persons living with disabilities. And you are a statistician / a social researcher. And you also play football. Wow. That is amazing.
And so, to add to what you just said, a first-class graduate.
Yes.
Okay, we need to give him a round of applause.
Wow. Wow, it is just
amazing. So tell us, how did you do it? How was it possible?
Well, it wasn't easy. When you get admission and you have a lot of people looking up to you, they want to know what you can do. They want to see how you can adapt to changes. They want to see how you can be influenced by your environment. You just have to go all out and try to do your best to make sure everything you are doing works in your favor. So that was basically all I did. I tried to make people who put their hope and believe in me, to make them proud. And also, those that said I could not do that, I just had to do it so that they will change their mindset concerning that and say, okay, he did it. That means every other person can do it.
Wow.
Please, another round of applause.
Like that.
That is
having a positive mindset.
The last thing he said, saying, he did it.
Yes.
If he can do it,
I like the fact that he actually had the positive mindset for himself, and I'm sure that helped you thus far. Okay. Wow.
That is.
Thank you.
You were talking about the things that you did and how you were doing it. You did it for the people that believed in you, and then you did it for the people that didn't believe in you. At what point did you really do it for yourself? There's that thin line.
Yes, there's that thin line.
So were you doing it for others? Were you doing it for yourself, or you were merging the two?
I basically was doing it for everybody. I did it for myself also because while I was growing up, I saw that the level of playing ground, like for everybody, it was not leveled. For some, they have privileges while I don't have those privileges. So I made a pledge to myself, so to say, that I am going to be great. I'm going to do this. So I started taking classes serious because before I wasn't really serious about education. I said, we'll just read a week to the exam, we'll pass. But later, I started thinking of it that, oh boy, look at yourself. You can't say gala and hold up. You can't do some certain things. You can't be a conductor. So you have to sit up and look at where you want to really be in 10 years' time, in 20 years' time. So I had to talk to myself and say, guy, you need to study hard. You need to read that. So it was then that I transitioned from living just my life to having a purpose for myself.
Okay, so let's talk about your career in football.
Yes.
Now, I'm aware that you're part of the amputee football team, and we had them on the show some time ago.
Yes.
So, you won the tournament. Your team won the tournament. How did you feel at that point in time?
I was really, really happy because like, it was a time for me to show myself aside education and academics.
Okay.
I've been a lover of sports for a long time. While in OAU, I was among the OAU swim team. So I learned swimming while I was in school.
Wow.
So I tried to balance my academics with sports. So I've really been a lover of sport for a very long time. So I joined the swimming team. I trained, although I didn't join early. I joined when I knew the grade was okay.
Was okay. That's important.
Keep it balanced.
I joined 300 level second semester. During the break, I didn't go home for the break, so I stayed back to train. During that period, I learned how to swim and do some other things. So it was then that I really fell in love with sports. So while I came back home, I went to the National Stadium and I saw people playing amputee football. I said, but I do these things on the street at home now. Let me just join these people and see how it is done. So I joined them and I started playing with them. The coaches and the players were impressed. And they told me that they would like me to be part of the team. And that was how I joined them.
Wow. I was so excited when you guys won. Like, I was super excited because I know when you came on the show and we wanted to raise funds, to ensure that your trip there was safe and everything. And I heard that you won. I was like, we told you to win and you made it. Yes.
It's really, I can sit down here all day and just listen to the story because it's exciting.
It's inspiring.
It's
inspiring.
It is quite inspiring.
Okay.
So how have you been able to, inspire others, like other people living with disabilities, seeing that you are a success story? How have you been able to tell them, aside, you coming up with first class, you getting involved in, swimming team and football and the likes, which other way have you been able to, educate them that don't let your disability limit you from achieving your dreams and, making people around you proud? So what other way have you?
Okay, let me first start this by saying my undergraduate project was centered around people with vulnerabilities. So the physically challenged were part of those communities, so to say. So I came to the National Stadium then, and I talked to our people that, okay, I'm working on a project. Like, how do you feel if you are included in certain aspects of the government where you've been excluded, or certain aspects of the society where you've been excluded? So a lot of people were telling me that if they should include us, I won't be suffering, I won't be begging, I won't be doing such things that I've been doing before. So I went back and incorporated that into the project thesis, and I submitted it. And I published, I also submitted it for a conference and it was accepted. And aside that, I've been involved in conferences, like their disability conferences, not just disability too, but less privilege. There was one I went for, it is a yearly one, like we do it for people that are less privileged, like people who do not have things to eat. So last year we went to Ajegunle. This year I was on service at Delta State, so I could not attend it, but I sent a financial aid to them that they should improve with what they've done last year. So I've involved in something like that.
So are you done with service now?
Yes, I'm done.
Hearing that just makes me smile. Like, I'm inspired to do more. I don't know about you.
Okay, we've been talking about all the sweet side and all the inspiring side. Okay, now we know that, I'm guessing it's not exactly a smooth sail. You probably would have had the downs and then the times where you're just tired of it all. So let's talk about that. Have there been times where you were just tired of everything, maybe because things were not falling into place, or maybe stigmatization, or maybe opportunities were not coming as you expected?
Sorry, and to add to what she said, you tell us about challenges you have faced and how you were able to overcome it.
Important.
For someone out there watching and wants to learn from your success story.
Okay, I have faced a lot of challenges. It is true. Everybody have challenges to face. And let me start by my admission into Obafemi Awolowo University.
Okay.
I was given the course geology to study. But while I got to the place and they were doing screen and everything, they told me that you could not do geology. I asked, why can't I do geology? He said, look at you. This thing is too rigorous for you to do. I said, no, I can do it. Along the line, they took me to the dean, they wrote letter, and I was out of geology.
Wow.
So I had to choose another course to do. So it took me down then, I wouldn't lie, because I chose geology myself. That was what I wanted to study. But along the line, they changed it for me. I was down, and I had friends who were let me say, they sympathized with me. My parents were there for me, friends were there, my family members and everybody, they were there for me. Then they took me through that period. And after that period, I was okay. At other times, when you're outside, people look at you and they say, who is this? Sometimes you're in the bus, people don't want to sit beside you. Sometimes you're walking, people just stretch 15 naira notes to you.
Wow.
And
you're wondering why.
You will tell them that, sir, I'm not a beggar. You say, no, I just want to give you, I want to help you. Say, sir, I can't accept this. There was a day I even made a joke of one. He gave me 500 naira. I said, sir, this 500 naira is too small. Will you make it 500,000 and I'll accept it? All looked at me like this. I said, this guy likes money. I told him that I'm not a beggar now, and this is not what will help me. So I'm telling people that are outside there now that begging is not the way.
Yeah.
Yes,
Look for
please.
something you can do. Everybody has something that they can do. Sometimes when I see people begging on the street, I call them, I say, sir, what is happening? You have hands, you have legs, why are you begging? Look at me, I am not begging. You don't need to beg. Then I see other people who do not have legs, who do not have hands, struggling. They are working as shoemakers, working as tailors. Then I commend them that this is what I want my people to do. Then later, I see people fighting in the bus. I had this experience, I think 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
It was a physically challenged man in a public transport.
Okay.
And he was trying to fight another person. And the person is not physically challenged.
Okay.
So I stood up and I told the man that, look at yourself. This is not the kind of sins you cause in public transport. When people want to talk about it now, they would not single you out.
Yeah.
They will talk about the general population. So they will say physically challenged are violent. Physically challenged, they are quick to action, they are aggressive. So they won't mention you. And these things you do, they have underlying consequences. You may not see the consequence today, but tomorrow you will surely see it. And it might not be you that will be affected.
Exactly.
It might be another person. So after I talked to him, we alighted at the same place coincidentally, and he told me that he understood everything I'm saying. And from that day, it's going to stop. And we became very good friends in there.
Wow.
So I try
See
to
how you are
encourage people
touching
like
lives individually, and I'm sure you also see a similar scenario and then do exactly the same thing that you did, and then it goes round like that.
It's a cycle of good. This is beautiful.
that. When I alighted, the whole people in the bus, they were clapping for me. I was like, wow.
We should clap for you too. We should clap for you. It is commendable, really. It is.
So it was really nice. At least I knew that day I did something that was worthwhile. So I was really happy with myself today.
And one thing I was able to pick is the fact that, you know, we always talk about this when we have topics like this and people come in to share stories like this. And as having people around you that will help you go through situations.
That is very
You know, when we had the cancer
pertinent.
talk also, we're talking about having people, you know, with you to help you when you get stuck at some point and you lost all hope and everything. There are people that should be, to encourage you, to stand by you, to help you. So I'm happy that, you know, you were able to pull that, and I'm sure you still have people, because I wouldn't say the journey will be smooth. Even every other person has at some point you get stuck, you get downcast, and you just need that one person that will talk to you. You just need that one person that will tell you you can do this, you can pull this through, and
help you keep moving.
Yes.
So is there a final word you would like to tell someone out there? Because I'm sure a lot of people are watching and they're so into just, you know, you see the way we've been grinning and we've been happy, you know.
I'm so happy.
Just looking into the camera and tell someone something they need to hear.
Okay, everybody out there, I want to talk to the physically challenged or people with disability first. That no matter what you are feeling now, it is not the end of the world. There's still a lot of things you can offer to this world. Think of something that interests you. Think of a trade. Think of a talent you have. Think of something that's embedded in you that you want to show out to people. And think on ways, think on plans on how to bring this to reality. Then work towards it. Then everything will work out fine. And I also want to talk to the general population. Your perception of person with disabilities should change. They don't need your sympathy. They need your empathy. You don't need to pity them. You don't need to feel sorry for them. You just understand them. Know what they feel. That is just all they ask. Then provide capacities for them to show what they can do. It's not that we just make them reclusive. You close them in a closed place. You don't let them come out. Like, a lot of people, they just keep them secluded. You give them food, then you lock them up. No, open them to the world. Let them see other people. I was once reclusive too. I didn't want to talk to people. I would just stay at home. But there was a time I saw people on TV, like physically challenged. They were running. I was like, what are they doing? I can do this thing. Then later, I was called up and told that there's a place called National Stadium. People used to gather there. They do sports and everything. And when I got there, I saw so many people with so many challenges, so many problems, and they were still going through life. And I said, come on, you can do this. So I'm telling you the same thing. No matter what you are going through, you can still pull through. You can still do whatever others are doing and do better. So you have something you want to change in this world. And if you don't come out to change it, it might never be changed. So just come out and do it. That's what I'm saying.
I am so excited. Like, it's so touching.
I feel like we should have a group hug right now.
I'm telling
We'll do that after the show.
But thank you so much for coming on the show and telling the world about your success story. And because the little you've just said now has empowered a lot of people. If they were secluded and in one place, they would want to come out to enjoy life, because you only have one life, just one life, and you should enjoy it to the fullest, regardless of whatever challenge, irrespective. Thank you once again for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
And I'm glad that a few times ago you were watching people on TV.
Yes, and now you're on TV.
Now you're on TV.
Yes.
Guys, I'm so pumped up. Thank you.
So it is at this point that we end today's episode on Tea or Coffee.
Yes.
Make sure that we join hands together, come together and have an inclusive society whereby everyone is seen as equal.
Yes.
Okay, so make sure you have a good day. My name is Wuraola Popola.
And my name is Oluwase Olusegun.
And my name is Modukwe Jacobs. Thanks for watching Tea or Coffee. See you tomorrow.
Bye.